Imagine a woman who defied every expectation of her time, who traveled across continents in search of the deepest truths, and laid the foundation for one of the most influential spiritual movements of the modern world. That woman was Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. At a time when Western society was gripped by rationalism and materialism, she brought a new, revolutionary vision, one that merged Eastern and Western wisdom into a coherent spiritual philosophy that still echoes through the modern age. But who was this enigmatic figure, and how did her teachings leave such a profound impact on esoteric thought and spiritual seekers across the globe? Born on August 12, 1831, in what is now Dnipro, Ukraine, Blavatsky came from a Russian aristocratic family steeped in intellectual curiosity. Her mother was a respected writer, and her grandfather a scholar of esoteric traditions. From an early age, Helena was drawn to the mystical. Her childhood was marked by strange supernatural experiences and an uncanny sensitivity to forces beyond the material world. This inner drive, this yearning for hidden truths, would shape her entire life. At the age of 17, unwilling to submit to an arranged marriage, she fled and began a journey that would take her across the Middle East, Europe, North America, and, most crucially, India and Tibet. In her travels, she claimed to have encountered advanced spiritual beings, Mahatmas or masters, who imparted to her sacred occult knowledge. These beings, she said, were the custodians of an ancient wisdom passed down through centuries, far older than any modern religion. In Tibet, she reportedly underwent esoteric training, learning about the universal principles that connect all religious and philosophical systems. This training laid the groundwork for what would later become known as Theosophy, a system of spiritual philosophy that sought to unite all paths of knowledge into one stream of truth. Her arrival in the United States in 1873 marked a turning point. It was in New York, in 1875, that she co-founded the Theosophical Society with Henry Steele, Olcott, and William Quan Judge. This organization became the platform through which her teachings would reach a wider audience. From the beginning, her presence sparked intense reactions. Critics accused her of deception and fraud, while followers revered her as a messenger of divine truth. Despite the constant challenges and controversies, she persisted in her mission, writing and teaching until her final days. Even while suffering from health issues, Blavatsky poured her energy into her writings, determined to complete her life's work. She died on May 8, 1891, in London, but not before publishing her most important books, works that would leave an indelible mark on spiritual philosophy. Her first major work, Isis Unveiled, published in 1877, shook both the religious and scientific establishments. It offered a scathing critique of both, arguing that they had lost contact with the true wisdom of the ancients. She proposed that ancient civilizations had once possessed deep knowledge of the universe and of spiritual laws, knowledge that had been buried under centuries of dogma and materialism. But it was in the Secret Doctrine, published in 1888, that her vision reached its most ambitious scale. Drawing from ancient texts she called the stanzas of Gian, this monumental work described an elaborate cosmology, explaining the creation of the universe, the spiritual structure of reality, and humanity's place within it. The book presented a multidimensional vision of existence, with planes of consciousness, cosmic cycles, and spiritual hierarchies, all interconnected in a divine order. Blavatsky's insights into the origin and evolution of the soul placed human beings on an immense spiritual journey, a path of ascension toward ultimate realization. Her writings introduced concepts such as the seven rays, spiritual hierarchies, and cycles of cosmic evolution. These teachings would later influence a broad range of thinkers and movements. From Rudolf Steiner's anthroposophy, two elements in Carl Jung's theories of archetypes and the collective unconscious, Blavatsky didn't merely draw from Eastern sources, she brought them into Western consciousness. At a time when Hinduism and Buddhism were virtually unknown in the West, she explained concepts like karma, reincarnation, and meditation in a way that resonated with Western seekers. The Theosophical Society quickly spread across the globe, opening branches in Europe, India, and the United States. It aimed not to replace existing religions, but to reveal the core truth within them all, asserting that every spiritual tradition comes from a single, ancient source, guarded by the Mahatmas. Blavatsky emphasized the comparative study of religions, the pursuit of universal brotherhood, and the belief that every individual holds the key to their own spiritual evolution. For many, Theosophy was not just a belief system, it was a call to inner transformation. Influential figures like Jiddu Krishnamurti, initially promoted by the Society as a world teacher, and Mahatma Gandhi, who credited Theosophy with deepening his understanding of Hinduism, showed just how far-reaching her influence became. Yet her path was never smooth. Blavatsky was the subject of intense scrutiny, especially after the Society for Psychical Research accused her of fraud in an 1885 report. The document painted her as a masterful deceiver, based largely on testimonies from disillusioned former associates, but later analyzers discredited the report, pointing to biases and poor methodology. Many came to believe that she was a victim of prejudice and of a scientific establishment unwilling to accept phenomena it couldn't explain. Accusations of plagiarism also followed her. As critics noted similarities between her writings and earlier sources, her defenders countered that she had always acknowledged her work was a synthesis, a gathering of fragments of truth scattered throughout the ages. They argued that her goal was not originality for its own sake, but to recover and reorganize wisdom that had been lost. Internally, the Theosophical Society suffered from conflicts and divisions, and after her death, it faced further fragmentation. But her message endured. Even those who questioned her claims could not ignore the scope and power of her vision. Her teachings continue to inspire those who seek to explore the hidden dimensions of reality, who reject easy answers and dare to look beyond the material world. The paradoxes that define her life remain part of her legacy and invitation to explore rather than to judge, to question rather than to follow blindly. Helena Blavatsky's influence reached far beyond theosophy. She helped redefine how the West saw Eastern spirituality. Concepts that were once foreign, karma meditation, are now central to spiritual discourse around the world. Her ideas helped dissolve the artificial boundaries between science, philosophy, and religion, suggesting that truth could only be grasped by those willing to step beyond rigid systems of belief. Writers like W.B. Yeats and Aldous Huxley found inspiration in her vision. Psychologists, mystics, artists, and spiritual seekers all found in her writings a gateway to something deeper, something ancient, something enduring. Her legacy is not one of fixed dogma, but of living inquiry. She did not offer a closed book of beliefs, but a map to inner exploration. Her call was simple yet profound: to seek truth with courage, to investigate without fear, and to understand that the path to knowledge is not through authority, but through direct experience. Her writings remain with us, challenging, complex, and provocative, urging us to keep searching for the reality that lies behind appearances. And perhaps that is the true measure of her contribution. She reminded us that the universe is far more mysterious than we imagine, that knowledge is never complete, and that our journey toward understanding is never finished. For those willing to look past the veil of illusion, Blavatsky's teachings offer a key that might unlock the door to a greater, hidden world waiting just beyond our grasp. Thank you for watching.